All right, everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are going to get started. Welcome to this meeting of the Senate Committee on Education. I'm Senator Angie Taylor, and I have the honor of chairing our meeting, and we will start with our roll call. Madam Secretary.
Senator Buck. Here. Senator Cruz Crawford. Here. Senator Dognati. Here. Senator Dondero Loop. Here. Senator Rogich. Senator Titus. Here. Chair Taylor.
I am present, and please mark Senator Rogich here when she arrives. I know she's in another committee right now, and we'll make sure she makes her way over here as soon as she can. All right, so we have two bills we're going to hear on today. Assembly Bill 286 and Assembly Bill 472, and then we will work session some bills as well. We have our presenters here. Everyone, you know the routine, right? Silence your electronic devices, turn on the microphone when you speak, off when you're done. Make sure you've signed in, and if you do speak, give comments or what have you, then please make sure that you give your business card to our secretaries. They want to make sure everything, all the records reflected are accurate. We welcome anybody here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and if there's anyone on the phone line, we will take public comment at the end of the meeting, and that number for public comment is 669-900-6833. And our meeting ID today is 8295-3776-658. All right, that being said, we're going to start, we're going to go in order on our agenda. So we have my counterpart in the Assembly here visiting with us again. Please come forward, Madam Chair. Assembly Member Torres Fawcett. We'll start with Assembly Bill 286. Please go ahead when you are ready.
Thank you, Chair Taylor, Vice Chair Dondero Loop. For the record, I'm Assemblymember Selena Torres Fawcett, and I proudly represent Assembly District 3. And it's glad to be back in the second hardest working committee in the Senate because I have quite a few bills in your Vice Chair's committee. And today I am proudly presenting the Teaching Beyond Testing Act, which provides for a pilot program to assess the competency of applicants for a license to teach through alternative assessment methods. Teachers are often referred to as the pillars of society. We all reap the rewards of their efforts in empowering students with their knowledge, skills, and values necessary to become a productive and responsible citizen. The critical role teachers play in society underscores our legislative duty to support individuals pursuing a career in education. One means by which we can encourage more teachers to work and stay in Nevada is by developing alternative pathways to teacher licensure and eliminating unnecessary barriers. Currently, the most common manner that an aspiring educator is licensed in the state of Nevada includes passing the Praxis Core Academic Skills for Educators exam administered by the Educational Testing Service. Unfortunately, Praxis exams rely heavily on test-taking skills, which can present significant limitations for aspiring educators. Additionally, from the Praxis, we see equitable outcomes for candidates from unequitable outcomes for candidates from underrepresented groups and a failure to address critical teaching competencies, such as classroom management and culturally responsive instruction. To better align assessment practices with the realities of teaching, this bill proposes a pilot program to evaluate alternative methods of teacher candidate assessment that emphasize mentorship, performance, and professional growth while maintaining rigorous standards aligned with the Nevada Educator Performance Framework, or the NEPF. Anticipated outcomes of this bill include improving teacher retention and efficacy and modernizing the teacher licensure process. This is achieved by reducing the high-stakes nature of praxis testing and providing a sustained mentorship model as an alternative to the pedagogy exam that teachers are currently required to take. Supporting candidates from diverse backgrounds and promoting equity and licensure through inclusive assessment practices that align very well with our competency-based education push in a K-12 setting, but now expands that to include educators themselves. And it improves teachers' sense of belonging and preparedness for Nevada's diverse classrooms through mentorship and professional development. At this time, I'll go ahead and break down the sections of the bill. Section 1 of this bill requires that the Commission on Professional Standards in Education to exempt applicants for an initial license to teach from the requirement to pass a competency test on the principles and methods of teaching if the applicant satisfactorily completes the pilot program established in Section 2 of the bill. Section 2 outlines the requirements of the pilot program for an alternative pathway to teaching licensure to be established and operated by participating NCHE institutions. The program will host up to 100 participants each academic year through the program duration and requires that each participant is an applicant for an initial license to teach, holding a provisional license to teach or a substitute teaching license or endorsement. Additionally, the program will host up to 25 mentors. Mentors are licensed teachers with at least 5 years of experience teaching in Nevada public schools. Mentors and mentees will meet monthly for the duration of the program. Participants will take part in professional development curriculum, including at least 10 sessions aligned with the criteria designating a teacher as effective or highly effective under the NEPF. Participants must receive at least 2 consecutive evaluations rating their performance as effective or highly effective to successfully complete the program. Program operators will assess the validity, reliability, and scalability of alternative assessment methods while ensuring they align with state standards, accreditation requirements, and school district needs. The program will emphasize inclusive and equitable assessment practices and accommodate diverse learning styles. And additionally, the program operators will collect and analyze data to provide evidence-based recommendations for potential statewide implementation. Section 2 also sets forth the requirements of NDE to remove any provision or on a provisional license that requires an applicant for an initial license to teach or pass a competency test in the principles of learning and teaching upon the applicant's successful completion of the pilot program. Section 2 further requires each participating NCHE institution to submit a report each year of the program's operation to the Joint Interim Standing Committee on Education, the State Board of Ed, and the Commission on Professional Standards in Education, describing the progress of the program, including demographic info on program participants, the success of the professional development services provided by the program, and preliminary findings of the program. 6 months after the program end date, participating NCHE institutions must submit the plan for implementing a permanent program modeled after the pilot program, including the metrics for the success of this pilot. As you can see, this continues to maintain the rigor of teaching programs, but improves the mentorship provided for educators to ensure that we're creating more educators that feel like they have the skills that they need to be successful in the classroom. At this time, I'm open for any questions.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. I'll turn to the committee for any questions. I actually have a couple. We'll start with Vice Chair.
No, go ahead.
Okay, well, thank you, Vice Chair. No, thank you for the presentation, and thank you for bringing the program. I may have missed this, so please forgive me. I'm not on all cylinders. I'm on whatever cylinders I have left at this point in the session. Just so the pilot program of 100 prospective teachers, 25 teachers, other mentors, right? How long? Is there a particular number or length of time? As I said, I may have missed this.
Assemblymember Selena Torres, for the record. This would require that there is a monthly meeting for the duration of the program. It really is up to the institutions to create the program, but they would have to have at least 10 sessions that is aligned with the NEPF right now. Oh,
I'm sorry, Assemblymember, I wasn't clear. Thank you for that. It's just, so it's how long does the pilot program last? That's what I'm trying to say.
Assemblymember Torres Fawcett, I believe that it is 6 years, that the pilot, it expires by limitation on July 1st of 2029, which would then allow for the 2029 legislative session for this body to determine whether or not it was an appropriate fit for us to continue this program, or if the program was deemed ineffective, then obviously this body could choose not to continue the program.
Okay, thank you. That would give, that's 4 years of data, so that gives 2 years is a little tight, but so that, my next question on that would be the mentors. Do we compensate the mentors? That, again, I may have missed that too.
Assemblymember Torres Fawcett. While there is nothing in here requiring that the mentors be compensated, in my work with the institutions and working sometimes as a professor with UNLV's College of Education, they do compensate mentors, even mentors for student teachers in most cases. So that would be at the discretion of the university as well. But they would have a much harder time getting mentors on a volunteer basis. So I would imagine that it would be their desire to compensate them to the extent possible.
Thank you very much. I was thinking the same thing. As busy as teachers are, Why would they volunteer? You're right, that wouldn't be the expectation.
A supplementary Torres Fawcett for the record, and I think the goal there with the mentors would be that the mentors would also be providing that instruction too. So they would have the 10 sessions similar to what we do in other ARL programs, maybe like a Teach for America or any of the
ARLs, yeah.
name the ARL program. They all have them. So they would meet, and then they would provide additional support and professional development to their educator, so that they would then receive like a review essentially of the NEPF and be more comfortable with those skills.
Yeah, thank you. Just a comment. I noticed they will have at least 2 high-level evaluations that they achieve in this as well. So. Yep.
Supplementary Torres Fawcett for the record. And, we as a state have invested a significant amount of money into the NEPF, and I think that there's other legislation to even continue to review that NEPF. And so this aligns with that. If we as a state are going to see a value in using that educator performance framework, then we should also see that that investment as demonstration that our educators that are meeting or exceeding the expectations are able to teach and perform well in our classrooms.
Thank you very much. Looking for questions. I'll go Vice Chair Dondero Loop.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the bill. I don't have any cylinders left, so. What I have a question on is the initial license requirements. When you mentioned that, could you kind of tell me what? I know that they're going to go through this program and they're going to be mentored, but what is there a difference in the initial license requirements than what is already there?
Supplementary Torres Fawcett for the record, through the chair to the vice chair. The intent. Thank you. The intent of this legislation is to ensure that they're still required to be a licensed educator. So if you're an educator with a provisional license and you're struggling to pass the PLT, which is the praxis that we have been discussing, then you would be able to participate in this program. And then if you had a provisional license, those provisions would then be removed once you completed your participation of this program successfully, once you got that certificate. However, in some instances, we already have educators, and I'm sure, I know Senator Chris Crawford, as a principal, you probably worked with many educators that struggle to pass that PLT exam. Then once that educator, if they have lost their provisions on the license, they would be a substitute teacher that otherwise would have qualified to be an educator in our classrooms, but they're struggling with that exam. They could have even gotten great reviews and great remarks from their supervisor, but if they did not pass that praxis exam, then they would not be able to continue teaching in the classroom. So this would give them the ability to continue to serve as a long-term substitute at substitute pay. This is not saying that they would then get some other special deal. They would be working as a long-term substitute, and in some cases they have continued to stay on as long-term subs. And then once they were able to complete their participation in this program, as long as they have met every other requirement for a standard teacher licensure, they would be able to be granted their license to teach.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Senator Cruz Crawford, and I think Senator Buck, you have, okay.
Thank you so much, Chair. I know we've been working a lot of years on investigating those that don't pass praxis and the impact on student achievement. And there's been a working group with the Department of Education to kind of solve this problem and those competency-based testing. Have you worked with the Department of Ed at all on any of those?
As a member Torres Fawcett for the record, I mean, obviously at this point in the session, I have worked pretty extensively with the Nevada Department of Education, as well as the institutions, to kind of figure out how we could create this program in a way that makes sense for the current licensing requirements, but then also supports our commitment to competency-based education, as well as mentorship for educators.
Because I think that was the recommendation, what you're doing now. So this is probably a result of that work. So I just wanted to get on the record that this is not just a bill that came out of nothing. The Department of Ed has taken stakeholders. I do have several teachers that can't pass the praxis that went through ARL because it's kind of a one-size-fits-all. So they might be teaching kindergarten, but be getting 8th grade math, assessment that they may be struggling in passing. And I know we already have an accommodation for 45 extra minutes for ELL test takers, but sometimes they need some alternative pathways. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, Senator. And that actually reminds me, so there is a section of the bill, section 1, sub 3A, so it's line 17 of page 2, that also, right now, after we passed, I forget the bill number, after we passed the bill last legislative session, we did allow for the Commission of Professional Standards to create regulations so that you could take an entry course in lieu of the Praxis core, which is your math, your ELA, your writing. However, once that was implemented from the department, they required that you take the Praxis and then take and then after that, you have to retake maybe a class that you've already taken. The difficulty that I have with that as an educator in this state, I took the Praxis and I took it after I had completed all of my programming to be, after I had completed my bachelor's, and that's very standard. And so that requirement that the department has would require somebody who's already passed English 101 to go back and retake English 101, and I just don't see a value in that. So this requires them to still take the Praxis, but they could take it at any time, whether it be before or after, so to give a little bit, to recognize that, many educators have already taken that. As long as it's an entry-approved class, there is that stipulation. So if you're from out of Nevada and you're struggling to pass the Praxis core, you have to take the entry course.
Thank you, Assemblymember. Senator Buck?
Thank you, Chair Taylor, and thank you so much for coming up with the creative solutions to ensure that students are served by a licensed teacher. I was just wondering if you could explain again the different tests, because it's been a while since I've taken them, and the pass rates. And then if teachers don't pass the test, and it's the content test, I don't know which one it is, if it's 1, 2, or 3, the actual content test, then they take a math test, and then do they have to retake the test, or just to make sure that they know how to teach math in 4th grade?
Assemblymember Torres-Plata for the record. So there's 3 different type of practices, and I don't think anybody from the department is here to provide backup right now. But so I'm not familiar with those numbers. I think that's a better question for the department. But what I can tell you is that there are multiple different types of praxis. So as an English teacher, I had to take the praxis core, which has that basic reading, writing, and math. And then after that praxis, you would take that praxis in your subject area. So as an English teacher, I took the praxis secondary English. This does not touch that secondary exam or that type of content specific exam at all. So for special education teachers, they would be still required to pass that special ed exam. If they were teaching math or science, they would still be required to teach that whatever is specific to their license, depending on the courses that they teach. And then there is the Praxis Principles of Learning and Teaching, which as an educator and as somebody who's worked as an instructional coach for a long time, I actually do not see very much value in this principles of learning and teaching, other than it teaches you the different types of providing instruction. But I have never once in my practice, and I imagine all the teachers in here could back me up when I say I've never once sat down and be like, well, I'm going to do this from a humanist approach, and so I'm going to do X, Y, Z. That's not how we teach. But what we do teach doing is reviewing, how am I going to do this in a way that makes sense for my classroom and my students, and make sure that we're reaching whatever academic goals. And I think the NEPF does a much better job of that. So in some ways, I actually think this is a program that's going to expand retention, because you're going to have teachers that feel better equipped and better developed to provide that high quality instruction. But in other ways, you're also going to have teachers that maybe were considering leaving the profession because they're struggling in their classroom. They're going to feel like they have what they need to do well. The other benefit that I see in this program, if you're a teacher that's taking this program, this means that you are taking this program because you want to stay in the classroom. So these are not classroom teachers that are thinking I'm going to do this certificate program and then leave. And, now I have my master's and I'm going to go do something else with it. These are people that want to teach, because there's no other reason that you would participate in a certificate program for principles of learning and teaching. So I think we're going to get that retention to better support those educators.
So it's for the actual teaching component as opposed to the basics?
Assemblymember Torres-Plata for the record. Yes, that's correct. Sorry, Senator.
You're awesome. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator. I just have one final question. This is, I love the innovation, right, in this. Do you know of any other states that have, I know there are plenty of alternative routes to licensure, but just anyway, the people struggle with the praxis, as you said, which is what this is about. And I'm sure it might be that same way in other states. I mean, that I don't know, but it's just really creative.
Assemblymember Member Fawcett for the record. So not all states require the Praxis PLT.
That's right.
So it isn't
That's
a
right.
requirement in every single state. This is something that I don't have the number off the top of my head how many states. I know Dr. Varner is online. So if Dr. Varner, if you know that, I think he's going to call in. Please let us know. But what I think is good about this program specifically is it makes sure that they're aligned to like the Nevada Educator Performance Framework and really are familiar with like what we expect of educators and high quality educators here in the state of Nevada.
Thank you, Assembly Member. Any other questions? All right, thank you so much, Madam Chair. We'll ask you to step back if you would, and we'll open it up for testimony, and people are just flocking. Just flocking. This is testimony in support of Assembly Bill 286. Who's first? Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Alejandro Rodriguez, Nevada System for Education, and she's in support of this bill. We'd like to thank Assembly Member Torres Fawcett for bringing this forward and providing opportunities for institutions to participate in this program. Thank you so much.
Michael Flores with the University of Nevada, Reno, ditto, and also want to thank the Assembly member for opening this up for the other institutions as well. Thank you.
Nathaniel Wall, Clark County School District. Just want to, again, ditto, and thank the Assembly member for identifying a way to make it entering teaching more accessible for folks who are having trouble passing the praxis, and we encourage you to support. Thank you.
Nicole Flangus with the Nevada Association of School Boards. We want to echo the other comments and really appreciate any avenues to keep more teachers in our classrooms. Thank you.
Susan Kima, I represent the 17 public school district superintendents with the Nevada Association of School Superintendents, and we are testifying in support of AB 286, Superintendent Support Creative Legal Ways of Getting Quality Teachers in the Classroom. Thank you.
Hello and good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Trevor Parrish with the Vegas Chamber, here today in support of Assembly Bill 286 as we support alternative pathways to teachers' licensure. We view this bill as a way to help address our teacher shortage by assisting well-qualified teachers to get into the classroom. We'd like to thank the bill sponsor for bringing this forward, and we thank the committee for your time and consideration.
Thank you so much. That's here in Carson City. Seeing none coming forward for support testimony in Las Vegas. AVH will go to the phone lines.
Thank you, Chair. To testify in support to Assembly Bill 286, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers in support at this time.
Thank you so much. Now, opposition testimony here in Carson City, in Las Vegas. Back to the phone lines, AVH.
Thank you, Chair. To testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 286, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers in opposition at this time.
Thank you so much, and we'll stay right here. We'll go to the phone lines first and work our way backwards. Any neutral testimony on the phone lines, AVH?
Thank you, Chair. To testify in neutral to Assembly Bill 286, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers in neutral at this time.
Thank you so much. In Las Vegas, seeing none here for neutral testimony in Carson City. Assembly member, any closing comments? Okay, thank you so much. We will now close the hearing for on Assembly Bill 286, and we will welcome up Assembly Member Mosca and open the hearing for Assembly Bill 472. Please go ahead and begin when you're ready.
Thank you. So great to see you all here. It's my first time here in Senate Ed. Erica Mosca representing Assembly District 14 for the record. Thank you, Chair and Committee, for hearing Assembly Bill 472 today. As I know, we're all trying to be brief. I will go over an overview of where this came from, what it does, and then answer any and all questions. So last session, I did have a bill to support our J1 visa teachers. It did not go through, but we were able to get a study in the interim. Some of you served on Interim Committee on Education Education. So you heard what happened from that. So we had a big hearing in the interim around all of the issues. What is a J1 visa teacher? What are they experiencing? What is the impact? And so you know a J1 visa teacher is someone who comes here from a foreign country that gets a visa to teach in our high needs areas. They right now contract with a third-party outside agency who then places them into a school district. This is not just a Clark County issue. Mineral County has more than 50% of their teachers, their workforce, are J1 teachers. And some of the big issues that we talked about in the interim were things like these agencies overcharging, staying in conditions that maybe 3 or 4 people were sharing a room. There's just a lot of issues when it came to these teachers, but wanting to be pragmatic, what we brought, what became a bill, so it's an interim committee bill since it was a study, is that we are saying in Section 2 that none of our districts can partner with any agency that is charging more than $10,000 to these teachers to come over here. We have had extensive working groups in the interim. We have talked to the districts. They all feel that the $10,000 is where they are right now with what they would call the quote-unquote good agencies. So it is, at least according to them, they don't think that this will then kick out all of their teachers because of the agency. And we did have a provision in here in Section 3 that would create a grant program that would help people transition to H-1B visa, but we removed that given our fiscal climate this session. So this bill simply says that our districts cannot partner with any outside agencies to hire J1 teachers that charge those folks over $10,000. And I thank everybody who has helped work on this for many, many years, and happy to answer any and all questions.
Thank you so much, Assembly Member. I see Senator Titus leaning in. Go right ahead, Senator.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Assembly Member, for always being such a wonderful advocate for education and educators. My question is, number one, how many agencies are there out there? And I would assume that these agencies contract for with other states. It's not just the state of Nevada that uses those. And once you answer that question, my worry with that and where I'm leading is if we say, okay, you can only charge $10,000, will these agencies then just stay in other states where they can make more money and not bother to bring teachers here?
Erica Mosco for the record, that's a great question. Thank you, Senator. A couple things. There used to be, and CCSD is here, so at least on the CCSD perspective, they could correct me if I'm wrong, but I know I've seen before a list of like over 20 agencies that have been here since the program's inception in the last 10 years. However, they have whittled down. So there have been some agencies that maybe they were bad actors, or there was a lot of feedback, or they were charging upwards to $30,000 for candidates, and we have slowly changed, at least in the Clark County School District through their Human Resources Department, that they are only trying to now partner with those in this 10,000 rate, so they do exist, but that is because of the legislation from last session. So even though we didn't get the bill passed, I think they saw the writing on the wall, and they started to change who they were partnering with. And I would say in other states, what's really interesting, other states do it so varied. Other states, actually, their state becomes the H-1B visa sponsor instead of a J-1, so they don't even have agencies. Other places, the district becomes a J-1 sponsor, so they don't even charge. So even though we may think they may leave, we're still actually, I'm not going to say harmful, but we are probably more attractive still to them than other states that don't even use the middleman.
Follow up, if I might, Madam Chair. So along that same line then, with other states becoming the negotiators, essentially bringing them in, not using that middleman, has there been any thought to doing that in these school districts, especially one as large as Clark County?
Erica Mosser for the record. Yes, we have, and actually that was the in Section 3, we were trying to think about that. So as so many things in this building, it's really just resources. They would have to then pay for that. They'd have to have staff to create that department within their district. Mineral County, who I know Mary is here, or Ms. Kima somewhere, but Mineral County will tell you, because 50% of their teachers are J1, they are doing that in Mineral. So Mineral during the interim talked about how they are getting rid of all their agencies when they're ready to, because they're just going to become the sponsor. But from a state perspective, didn't want to put that in this one so that districts still had a choice.
Well, I just might add that I'm proud of Mineral County. I represent Mineral County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Titus. Other Senator Cruz Crawford?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you so much for bringing this, Assemblymember Mosca. I agree. As a principal of ESY, we have most of the staff that does extended school year for our students that have IEPs written for an extended school year. A lot of them are J1 visa holders. And I talk to them and ask them, where are they living? What are they doing? And a lot of them, it'll be like 7 people in like a 2-bedroom apartment. And I really hope that one day we can get to the place that Mineral School District is, because right now what we're doing is we're balancing that on the backs of some of our least paid employees in the state. And I understand it's a resource issue, but it's also, to me, very much a human rights issue. And if we really want to attract great employees, we need to treat them as such. So when they're starting out as a $53,000 salary employee and they're getting $10,000 off the top of that, it's really difficult to have a good quality of life. So I want to continue engaging in this conversation, and I appreciate you taking a step in the right direction and being such an advocate for this, because it is very much needed to fill our vacancies and just to be good employers. So thank you so much for your work.
Erica Moss, for the record. Thank you, Senator, and I look forward to continuing to work on it with you.
Thank you so much. That last piece of the conversation was where my questions were seated. So I think we're good unless there are any other questions from committee members. Okay, seeing none, Assembly member, thank you so much for the presentation. Thank you for being here. We'll invite you to step back and we'll have the same usual suspects. Respectfully. No, it's respectfully. Come forward and please you know, your routine. I see someone in Vegas as well, Ms. Nices. Please go ahead.
Nathaniel Wall, Clark County School District. First off, we want to thank the Assistant Majority Leader for bringing this bill forward, and we fully support this. As she indicated, we've whittled our J1 sponsors to 3 agencies, and we appreciate her work in ensuring that our J1 teachers are treated fairly and have a wonderful experience with us. Thank you.
Go right ahead, Ms. Kima.
Susan Kima, representing the Nevada Association of School Superintendents, and we are in support of AB 472. Regulating fees for agencies who try to take advantage of districts is critical to Nevada. Most recently, Stephanie Cooey, who is the superintendent for Mineral County School District, spoke nationally with AASA, the National Superintendents Organization, down in New Orleans in February. She was asked to be part of a panel to share how Mineral County evolved with her program, because AASA was looking at it as a model for rural districts. And she also had an opportunity to bring awareness about agencies that do work with districts. So this bill is critical. Thank you for supporting it.
Thank you, Ms. Kima. Please go ahead.
Nicole Flangus from the Nevada Association of School Boards. I will ditto the comments before.
Thank you, Ms. Flinga. Seeing no one else here in Carson City, we will go to Las Vegas. Please go ahead and begin.
Good afternoon, Chair Taylor and members of the committee. Marie Nices, M-A-R-I-E-N-E-I-S-E-S-S, President of CCEA. I'm here today to express our strong support for AB 472. We are deeply grateful to Assemblymember Mosca for her leadership and commitment in bringing this bill forward. AB 472 addresses real and pressing challenges faced by our educators on J1 visas. Dedicated professionals who play a vital role in our classrooms and communities. As we continue to navigate a persistent teacher shortage, we must provide support to all educators, including those here on J1 visas, who contribute meaningfully to student success every day. We submitted written testimony from multiple J1 visa educators. I strongly urge your support of AB 472. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Nices. Seeing no one else there in Las Vegas, we will go to the phone lines for support testimony. AVH?
Thank you, Chair. To testify in support to Assembly Bill 472, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Caller, please press star 6 to unmute your phone.
Hi, my name is Kalen Evans, president of the Washoe Education Association, and we represent all the certified professionals in the Washoe County School District. I'm here to speak in support of AB 472. In Washoe County and across the state, these J1 visa teachers have really helped fill a critical shortage in our schools, and we need to continue to support them. I just wanted to quickly ditto this previous comment. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Next caller, please.
Chair, we have no additional callers in support at this time.
Thank you so much. We'll open the hearing now for any opposition testimony here in Carson City or in Las Vegas. Okay, seeing none. AVH, any opposition testimony?
Thank you, Chair. To testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 472, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers in opposition at this time.
Thank you so much, AVH. We'll stay right here with the phone line for neutral testimony, any neutral testimony for Assembly Bill 472.
Thank you, Chair. To testify in neutral to Assembly Bill 472, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair Taylor and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Maria Donata Rodaza, and I'm an 8-year special education educator within CCSD and a proud CCA member. I am speaking in support of Assembly Bill 472. My teaching journey began as a J1 exchange teacher, and I'm now in the process of transitioning my status to permanent residency with the ultimate goal of obtaining U.S. citizenship. I wholeheartedly support the J1 visa program, which has brought 469 highly skilled and qualified teachers to the Clark County School District, collectively serving more than 10,000 students. With the CCSD having about 1,600 educator vacancies annually, it is essential to retain dedicated educators who are willing and eager to continue making a difference in the community. I am a highly qualified special education teacher, currently working on my doctoral degree. Due to the J1 program, I have been able to assist students with learning disabilities and autism develop essential skills that empower them both inside and outside the classroom. While myself and other educators have made a meaningful impact on our students due to the J1 program, there are still fundamental issues with the system, specifically the exorbitant fees charged to our educators to third-party providers. Placing a cap on the amount of fees paid by our J1 educators will let us continue to ensure that every child, regardless of ability, has the opportunity to learn, thrive, and succeed by continuing to fill vacancies with highly skilled, qualified J1 educators. For these reasons, I ask you to support Assembly Bill 472. I thank Assemblymember Mosca for her dedication to all J1 visa educators. Respectfully, Maria Donata Rodaza, Clark County School District, Las Vegas, Nevada. Thank you.
Thank you so much. AVH, do we have another caller?
Sure, we have no additional callers in neutral at this time.
Okay, now we'll go to, oh, that was neutral. Okay, do you have any closing comments, Assembly Member?
Thank you so much, Erica Master. For the record, I just wanted to thank the many community members who've been working on this long before I was ever elected, CCEA for the help on this in the interim, and then finally, as the first Filipino to ever be elected in our state, the Philippines is the largest sending country, so I just want to thank them and all of their colleagues for coming and educating our students. So thank you, committee.
Thank you so much, Assembly Member. Okay, we're going to take a brief recess, just 1 or 2 minutes. We prepare. We're going to go right into work session because we don't have any more time. So, so we'll be on the short recess. All right, thank you so much. We're going to get back from our recess. Thank you very much, everybody. We did distribute work session documents for the 2 bills we heard today. The others are already there. We distributed those as well for the 3 bills that were on the agenda. So we will go into work session, and we just heard those 2 bills. We're going to do a consent agenda for the work session. We're going to go to the Assembly Bill 335, Assembly Bill 345, Assembly Bill 286, and Assembly Bill 472. We just heard the last 2. You want to do a quick review of the first 2, and then we'll be looking for a motion, and we'll take the next bill. Please, Ms. Sturm-Gaynor.
Thank you, Chair. Jen Sturm-Gaynor, Committee Policy Analyst. As a reminder, as nonpartisan staff, we do not advocate for or against any measure. The first bill on the consent agenda is AB 335, which the committee heard on May 28th. This bill revises provisions relating to pupils who are English learners, including the appointment, qualifications, and duties of school district administrators who support English learner pupils, among other provisions. There were no proposed amendments for this measure. Then we've got Assembly Bill 345, also on the consent agenda, which requires the Board of Regents to establish and maintain a data dashboard that includes statistical data relating to certain educational and professional outcomes of students by September 1st, 2026, among other provisions. And then the final 2.
Which one's that? Yeah, that's not on consent. All right.
And then the final 2 bills on consent agenda today are the 2 bills we heard today, Assembly Bill 286 and Assembly Bill 472. And there were no proposed amendments for any of those bills.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sturm-Gaynor. So again, just as a reminder, we have 4 bills I'd like to do as a consent agenda: Assembly Bill 286, Assembly Bill 335, Assembly Bill 345, and Assembly Bill 472. None have amendments, so I'm looking for a motion to do pass.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and I will move to do pass on the consent agenda.
Thank you so much. There's a motion from the Vice Chair and a second from Senator Cruz Crawford. Any discussion on those 4 bills do pass? Seeing none, all those in favor? Oh, wait, there's some discussion. Hold on. Okay, so we'll ask you to rescind your motion, Madam Vice Chair, if you would.
Madam Chair, I'll rescind my motion.
Second, okay, fantastic. So we'll take 3 bills for consent agenda, no problem at all. So that will be, just as a reminder, Assembly Bill 286 that we heard today, Assembly Bill 345 that we heard on the 28th, and Assembly Bill 472 that we also heard today. None of those are amended, so looking for a motion to do pass.
Thank you very much. Do pass.
Okay, we have a motion from our Vice Chair and second from Senator Titus. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay, the motion carries, and we will do, let's see, floor statements. Let's do Senator Buck. You'll have 472. Are you okay with that? Okay. All right. And then Senator Donyante, 345. And then Senator Cruz Crawford, 286. Okay, so now let's go to Assembly Bill 335. I'll turn it over to Ms. Sturm-Gaynor.
Thank you, Chair. Jen Sturm-Gaynor, Committee Policy Analyst. Assembly Bill 335 was heard on May 28th. This bill again revises provisions related to pupils who are English learners, including the appointment, qualifications, and duties of school district administrators who support English learner pupils, among other provisions. There are no proposed amendments at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Sturm-Gaynor. Do we have any questions for staff? Seeing none, looking for a motion. There's no amendments, right? I'm looking for a motion to do pass, if that's the pleasure of the committee.
Madam Chair, do pass.
Thank you so much, Madam Vice President. That's a promotion.
Thank you, Chair Tyler. I appreciate that.
Madam Vice, I told you I just have a few cylinders left, and they're trying. Okay, thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Is there a second on the motion for Assembly Bill 335? I will second from Senator Cruz Crawford. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Nay. The motion carries. Let the record show it is 4-1. We have Senator Titus as a nay. And that, oh, I'm sorry, 6-1. That's right. And then we'll ask Senator Rogich. Floor statement for that one, 335. And then the last bill for consideration today, Assembly Bill 416. Ms. Sturm-Gaynor.
Thank you, Chair. Jen Sturm-Gaynor, Committee Policy Analyst. The final bill on work session today is Assembly Bill 416. The committee heard this bill on May 28th. The bill revises provisions concerning access to certain library materials. At this time, there are no proposed amendments.
Thank you, Ms. Sturm-Gaynor. Any questions for staff? Seeing none, looking for a motion to do pass, if that's the pleasure of the committee.
Do pass.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Is there a second? Second. Second from Senator Cruz Crawford. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Nay. Okay, we have opposition, Senator Buck, Senator Titus, and Senator Rogich. And I will take that floor statement. Okay, thank you, everyone. I know it's a really busy time, and we're going to get into public comment in just a moment. But this may be our last meeting, depending. I heard there are a couple more bills coming. So I just want to thank, first of all, thank the staff for all of your hard work. Huh? Oh, I did. I got it. Yes, thank you. I thank the staff. See, Louise was going to make sure I didn't miss anything. Thank you. But just thank the staff for all of your hard work, making sure we got through all the bills that we needed to, and just being here and being supportive and making sure we can get through our business. And to all the committee members, thank you so much for everything, Madam Vice Chair. I know you have to run, so we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And before we go to public comment, yes, Madam Chair, yes. I've been very impressed with your leadership ability on this in this committee. Your willingness to hear everybody, give everybody equal time for their views, and share openly. That everybody is welcome. So thank you for that, and running a great committee. Thank you. Even though we are now become one as Tyler.
We have become one. Thank you so much. We will now go to public comment. Thank you, everyone. Any public comment here in Carson City on any item not on the agenda, or making sure it's within the purview of our committee? Seeing none in Carson and none in Las Vegas. ABH will see if there's anyone on the phone line. All that.
Thank you, Chair. To to provide public comment, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no public comment callers at this time.
AVH, thank you so much. And that appreciation to the staff includes AVH. We appreciate all of your hard work, too. All right, everyone, we are adjourned, and we may end up reconvening again tomorrow. So we're adjourned.